Well, hey, babe.
Well, hello there, Rebecca Hardy.
How's it going?
I'm doing pretty good.
Hey, I was going to ask you, do you remember when my mom sent me this article on beat baseball and I sent it to you and said we should totally talk about this?
Yeah, and we did a high five about it not too long ago.
That's right. So
Yeah.
what is beat baseball?
Well, beat baseball is basically baseball for the vision impaired.
Okay.
And you know me, of course, I had to dig a little deeper.
Yeah.
And I found one of the top players who lives near us in Austin.
You are so good at finding players. I mean, you're amazing at this. So today we have on our podcast Brandon Chester, and he is a incredible beat baseball player. He's going to tell us all about it. Please enjoy this interview. Well, thank you so much for taking time to talk to us today. You said you're in a restaurant?
Yeah, we're doing it Texas style. We're down here at Baby Acapulco's. About to go walk the Trail of Lights here in Austin.
Oh, that's awesome.
So fun. So fun.
Very cool.
That's awesome. Well, we won't keep you too terribly long, but we do thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, it's not as spectacular as y'all's little extravaganza. Where y'all hit what? Italy, Spain, Europe?
Oh yeah, we were everywhere. It was crazy. It was awesome, but it was also crazy.
Yes. Our son said we raced across Europe like we were fugitives. We were just like 90-0. It was, but it was
awesome.
Yeah. So, Brandon, you're hop right into some questions if you're ready. Like, tell us about your childhood. Were you always a baseball fan?
So, my childhood, I grew up playing soccer and little league baseball. I'm actually not that far from you guys. I grew up on the Texas Red River, in a small town called Denison.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I was a big baseball fan. I grew up watching Nolan Ryan, Pudge Rodriguez. I even watched Kirby Puckett run up the outfield wall to snag a pop fly during the World Series that the Minnesota Twins won.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I was always a big baseball fan. And, even when I play the sport today, I wear the relaxed fit baseball pants. I tuck my pants into my socks and kind of let them bloom out like the 1930s.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. My husband loves Kirby Puckett.
Oh yeah, I loved him.
You're speaking his language.
He was awesome.
You're speaking his language.
For sure.
Hey, I didn't know Big Man could run up a wall like that. That was awesome. That was back in '94, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to love to watch him play. He was great.
That's great.
So who were some of your other favorites as baseball players?
Oh man, I got a bunch. I know, like I said, Nolan Ryan, Pudge Rodriguez. I played catcher in Little League.
Okay.
So I kind of idolized Pudge Rodriguez a lot, and then Josh Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
And then to go back even further, I like Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, Lou Gehrig.
Yeah.
And now I'm drawing blank on some names. Darryl Strawberry.
Oh yeah. That's awesome.
Rebecca, who's your favorite?
Who's my favorite all-time player? Cal Ripken Jr.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah.
And Scott, yours?
I'm Andre Dawson.
Yes.
Especially with
Andre Dawson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So how did you find out about beat baseball, and how did you get into it?
Well, funny story. My way of finding out beat baseball was actually a first date with my now wife.
Okay.
Our first date, I was invited to a spaghetti dinner with the National Federation for the Blind, and I stood her up and, I apologized to her and asked her how to make it up to her. And she's like, well, if you really want to make it up to me, you can show up at a beat ball practice with the Austin Blackhawks. You can meet me there. And I was like, yeah, sure. Okay. So I showed up in a t-shirt and pair of shorts. And, Yeah, she created a monster. She didn't realize how passionate I was, and once I learned that I could get back into athletics, it was over.
Wow. That's so cool.
Well, I'm glad you stood her up then. I mean, this
Yeah,
worked out
right?
perfectly.
Yeah, I think I think even now, she wishes I would have made the spaghetti dinner.
Uh,
It's kind of taken over from there. Yeah.
right.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
How long have you been married, Brandon?
Uh, we've been physically married for 13 years.
Okay.
And we've been together for, let me do the math on this one, 16 years.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so for people that don't know what beat baseball is, tell us about the game and the rules.
So beat baseball is a version of baseball for the blind and visually impaired. It's been adapted. We do play on a baseball diamond, but there is no dirt. It's all grass, so it's pretty much a soccer field that we play our games on. This minimizes the amount of injuries from the transfer of dirt to grass.
Okay.
We utilize first and third base. There is no second. So, again, we want to minimize the amount of injuries. And our bases are set at 100 feet, and it's kind of like a tackling dummy, a styrofoam pylon that has a buzzer inside, and there's a person behind home plate with a toggle switch, and they will select which base the batter is going to run to. So the batter has no idea which base is going to go off.
I
No.
wonder how you guys decided which base to go to because I've watched some videos on it and I was like, how do they know which one they're supposed to go to?
Yeah, it's at random. So it's kind of like coach pitch softball in a sense that the pitcher, catcher, and batter are all on the same team. So the pitcher is intentionally trying to put the ball on bat so they can put it in play.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So you run off of a cadence. A lot of pitchers are, set, ready, ball, and then whack. So it's a timing, it's a rhythm. So you as a batter, you've got to get that rhythm down, and you want to keep your same swing, same height to make the pitcher's job half as difficult. And then you're not listening to the sound of the beep off the ball. You're just listening to the cadence from your pitcher. And then once you swing and you feel that contact, your ears are focused on the base, which base is going off, because you want to make sure that you turn, face that base, and take that correct step and just fly out of the box at 100 feet.
Wow.
So if you reach the base prior to the defense picking up the ball, you score a run. So every at bat is either a run or an out, and we have 3 outs for each side. On the defensive side of the ball, you've got 6 defenders and 2 spotters. The field is kind of cut into a pie pieces.
Yeah.
For the zones. So the spotter will yell the zone in which the ball is heading into. So the defenders have an opportunity to, do lateral movements, stay in their angles, stay in their depths, and make a play on the ball. Our home run line is set at 170 feet. So if the ball passes that line through the air, it's an automatic 2 runs.
Oh,
If at any time a fielder catches the ball off the fly, it's an automatic 3 outs or side retired if there's already 1 out or 2 outs in.
okay.
If a fielder catches the ball off of a 1 hop, it's a double play, automatic 2 outs, or if there's already 2 outs in, it'll retire the side.
Okay. Okay. So when the you don't hear the which base you're supposed to run to until like you make contact.
Correct. It might come on like a split second prior to contact. So if you make contact and you turn and you pause and you're looking for a base and there's no sound, the batter yells late base, and it's pretty much an automatic do-over. But you still want to run down the baseline, because if you reach the base before the defense can pick up the ball, you'll still score the run. But you just can't get put out on a late base.
Okay. And then also if you're a fielder, then the ball is beeping throughout the entire duration of the play.
Correct. Unless, which, it does happen quite often. batter has so much power that he breaks the ball on contact, and then it's a dead ball. At which time the fielders can yell dead ball, which alerts the umpire that the fielders have recognized it's a dead ball. You can still make a play on the dead ball, and if you get it up off the ground and away from your body before they hit that base, then it's still recorded as an out.
Okay.
Now, if they reach the base prior to the defense picking the ball up, or the defense just stays still and lets the ball roll, and the umpire comes out and stands over the ball and says, yeah, it's a dead ball, then the batter's got to come back and do that pitch over again. It's pretty much a no pitch.
So how many balls have you broken, Brandon?
In my career,
Your career.
I've lost count. I do know last year at the World Series, I think I hit my record. We were playing against, playing for the Bayou City Heat out of Houston, and we were playing against the Archers, I believe, and I had eight dead balls and 4 fouls.
Wow.
Before I finally made contact, put the ball in play, and I still scored the run. So it was a long at bat.
Wow, that sounds exhausting too.
Yeah.
About the league, how's the league set up? Like, how many teams? How do the league?
So there are registered 24 teams in the National Beat Baseball Association, the NBBA.
Okay.
But last year, due to finances and fundraising and everything and volunteers, it's hard to keep teams going, or it's hard to get teams to the World Series or different tournaments. So there were, I believe, 18 teams at the World Series in Oklahoma.
Oh, is that where it was?
Take your straw. Where's my straw?
Yeah, we were in Norman, Oklahoma for the World Series.
Yeah. At where in Norman? Like at a specific field?
It's not being used.
I don't even remember the soccer complex that we were at.
Okay.
But yeah, we had like 10 soccer fields that we had set up to run games on. It was a pretty unique complex because it had different elevations. So one level was like 4 different fields, and then you go down a ramp, or you could go down some stairs to the middle level, and there was like another 4 or 5 fields, and then you continue on down the sidewalk, and then went down to a lower level where there were more fields. And it was just a unique year because defensively, the sound from the different depths levels, it was throwing the sound of the ball off. It was crazy.
Oh, wow.
And don't all of the players wear masks just based on your level of being at what you can see and what you can't see? Everybody's wearing a mask. Is that correct?
Yes. All the defenders and batter are blindfolded to even the playing field because you have different levels of visual acuity. So we just want to make everybody total.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
So you can play. Are you in your 16th year? Is that right?
Something like that. I think I just competed in my 17th World Series.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
crazy.
So
Yeah.
in all those years, is there a moment or two that stands out at the top of your mind of like, this was the best moment of my playing career?
2014. That one's going to jump out of me real quick. That year was just awesome. That was my first year to win a World Series championship. I know that was the Austin Blackhawks' 8th world title. So just that feeling of accomplishment with my teammates, and it was just incredible.
Yeah, I bet. How many people are on the team? Like on a roster?
It varies. I mean, in 2014, 2015, the Blackhawks were carrying probably like 30 on their roster.
Wow.
So it's pretty deep.
Yeah.
And then like last year I was with the Bayou City Heat, and there was like I think 15 of us on the roster. I've seen teams show up with just 8 or 9 people, just enough to field the team. But if they had an injury, one of the volunteers had to go under blindfold just so they could keep playing.
That's cool. That's funny. So how do you get switched around from teams? Like, do they just be like, we want to pick up Brandon? How, do you have an agent? Like,
No, I actually left the Blackhawks. I kind of wanted to try something new. I wanted to challenge myself. It seemed like ever since I stepped on the field with the Austin Blackhawks, I was a starter for my rookie year in '07 all the way up until I left them in 2022. So I was like, am I really this good? So I wanted to challenge myself, and I joined up with the Bayou City Heat, and I was a starter there. They moved me all over the field. I hit from both sides of the plate, and I'm like, this is awesome. I'm challenging myself. I'm trying to learn a new defense, new spotters, and I'm staying with it. I think I made like 9 putouts or so from 5 different positions on the field.
wow.
And then after that, I made the All-Star team for my first time. We did a All-Star showcase in San Antonio, Texas. The first weekend in December, and shortly before that, I was contacted by another team from the league called the Indy Edge, who are the defending champions. And they said, we really want to bring you on our team. What's it going to take to get you on this team? Are you looking for another team?
Yeah.
So now come 2024 in St. Louis, I'll be playing for the defending champions, the Indy Edge.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Very cool. So they did kind of court you a little bit.
Yeah. It took several phone calls, several
awesome.
weeks to persuade me.
Yeah, that's cool. So you recently inducted to the Hall of Fame?
Sorry.
Like, what's it like to be the first blind person to be inducted to the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, so backstory on that, 2014, I was followed around prior to the World Series by the CBS Sunday Morning News crew. They came out to Austin, hung out with us for a few days, did some videoing of practices, and they showed up at the World Series, did some videoing of there, and I was fortunate enough to make the final out of that, clinching our championship title in 2014. And then the curator for the Cooperstown, the Hall of Fame Museum, he approached me and said, "Hey, we would like to put this ball in our museum." And I was like, "Sure, haha, that's a funny joke." And he's like, "No, I'm serious. Can I get you to autograph this ball?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to autograph this ball, because if it's in Cooperstown and I ever find my way up there, I would love to see it." So then shortly after that, I get an invitation to come down, and with this invitation, they inquire for my jersey and some artifacts to go along with the beat baseball. And then whenever I get there, it's like a whole induction ceremony, and revealing my jersey and display case and everything.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I was numb. I mean, I was so excited that I was numb, and that was probably one of the greatest feelings. And all that took place in 2015.
Okay.
When the World Series was in Rochester, New York, and the Blackhawks beat the Taiwan home run for the first time at the World Series to win. And that was a unique feeling, because one of our kids, Brian, who started pitching at the age of 12 for beat baseball, now he's 17. Well, he's about to turn 18 next month and graduate and go off to college. But he, myself, and my mom drove us from Rochester to Cooperstown to do the induction, and it was just I was like, pinch me. This is a dream. I'm gonna wake up any minute.
Yeah.
Because I'm standing behind a podium that like others,
Yeah.
so many greats stood behind, and I'm like, golly, this is awesome.
That's amazing. That's absolutely
So, Rebecca,
amazing.
this is our second Baseball Hall of Famer. We talked to Eric Nadell last year, so you're our second Hall of Famer.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah, and we still haven't been to Cooperstown.
I know we need to make it
We
there.
got to get
Yeah.
there.
Hey,
That's on the list.
it is a big and amazing place. As an inductee, they take you into this little room that only the inductees get to go into, and we got to hold and try on different artifacts throughout the baseball history. It was unique. Holding one of the mitts from the earlier years, when we put the baseball mitt on, it was like putting on an oven mitt. There was no
Yeah.
padding to it. There was nothing to it. It was just leather
Yeah.
and basically shaped like an oven mitt.
Oh, boy.
Some of the jerseys were like burlap sacks sewn into jerseys with buttons and
wow.
had tar painted on the back for their numbers.
Oh, wow.
That was their baseball jerseys. I was like, oh, that's gonna be hot and itchy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That sounds terrible.
Oh, wow. That is awesome.
Yeah, we got to get there.
Yeah. So you've had opportunity. Tell us about your opportunities. I know you've done some international stuff. Tell us how you've been able to be an ambassador for the game internationally.
Yeah, so in 2014, the Austin Blackhawks were invited to the Dominican Republic to come down there and teach them how to play. I was fortunate enough to go with them, and we did a lot of newspaper interviews. We were on a TV show over there in the Dominican, and then we met up with the Dominican team, went through a little practice and how to, we got a little hands-on with them and gave them some tips of the trade, so to speak. And then a couple of days later, we did a 2-inning demonstration in one of the Major League Baseball fields there in the Dominican, and that was another surreal feeling. I mean, we were in front of 4,000 or 5,000 screaming Dominican baseball fans.
They're pretty passionate.
And they're very passionate. I was high on that crowd love. I would walk up the top of the steps just like all the pros. I took my hat off, turned around, and waved at the crowd, and they just stood up and just started going nuts. And I'm like, oh, I'm loving this. But the game kicked off. We were on defense. We let the home team bat first. So as soon as they made contact with the ball, you couldn't move. You couldn't hear the ball, so you didn't want to move.
Wow.
I mean, and Molly Fleming, it was so loud. Molly Fleming, our spotter, she's yelling at me, and I'm like, I can't hear you if you're talking to me. You're gonna have to physically grab me and move me because I can't hear you.
Wow.
And so they were in Spanish, they were singing to the crowd, hush, hush, shh, don't make a sound. Hush, hush, shush, shush, don't make a sound. And then finally they were able to corral all those fans. So when they made contact, we could hear the ball and they could see how we moved and how we played. And then after we made the play, it just went deaf again.
Yeah. Wow. That is so crazy.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
So that was in 2014. And, when we were leaving, I'm going to butcher the lady's name. Her last name is Hungria, Francine. She's the one that set the whole thing up and invited us down, and she hugged us all, and she's like, you guys are going to go back and you're going to win the World Series. I can just feel it. And so we came back home in 2014 and went undefeated and won the whole thing unchallenged. And then in 2019, Mariano Reynoso, who is originally from Argentina, set up this whole trip and took a select few of players and volunteers over to his home country in Argentina. And we were educating them on the sport. We were there during a Goal Ball Nationals tournament. So we got some of the goal ball players out there on the field, and we were throwing the beat ball at them and letting them hit and run to the base, and they were getting a kick out of it. But we toured a lot of different colleges while we were there. While we were there, they were all studying about adaptive sports. So Mariano had set it up to where we could do live demonstrations about beat baseball while they were studying adaptive sports. And so we got to throw the ball at these sighted college students under blindfold and let them hit and let them run. And they loved it. They kept asking us questions about the game and how we do it.
That's so cool. My husband, Scott here, he and our youngest son, when he was like 11, they went to Africa and was teaching American baseball to some kids there who really only knew soccer, as a sport.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't know
football.
that they couldn't they couldn't drop kick the baseball in from.
Well, yeah, we would throw it to them and then they would drop it and kick it back to us.
Yeah, it was kind of funny.
We had
So you have a son. What do you hope that Colton learns from you?
You have a lot of
Colton plays baseball right now. He's learning a lot from me. I just want him to be open-minded, believe in himself, and never give up on himself, and just to, do what I've done and do what Mom continues to do. And that's fight through every day, proving to people that just because we have a vision disability doesn't mean that we can't still do the same thing as you do. I've grown up my entire life proving people wrong just because they told me I couldn't do it because I was blind.
Yeah.
I've been an athlete since the age of 3. I've played everything from soccer, baseball, did a little bit of motocross, did bull riding. I actually turned professional at the age of 17. I've been skydiving.
Yeah.
So, and now I'm a world champion beat baseball player. So
wow, that's incredible.
I've been married. Do what?
No, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, and, married. I hold down a full-time job contracted under the military, working for the Austin Lighthouse. And we've got 7 kids in total. So, yeah.
7 kids?
Oh, my goodness. You're a busy man.
How old are your kids, Brandon?
So we have twin 17-year-olds. They're both boys. One is trying to get into Johns Hopkins to be an anesthesiologist. The other, Tyler, is in the Army National Guard. He's about to be going to Texas A&M to be a doctor. He's a combat medic, private first class. So then I have a 15-year-old daughter, Caitlin. I have a 12-year-old daughter, Ashlyn. And then I have a 7-year-old son, Colton, and Bryson, who is about to turn 3 years old the 29th of this month.
Oh, my goodness.
And then Braylon, who is 6 months.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
So we're all over the place.
Yeah, I'm tired hearing all that, man.
No kidding. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So, not only do we travel with the sports, Ashlyn came out with me with the Bayou City Heat, and she was doing play-by-play commentary on the live stream, but she wants to learn how to be a catcher. She also wants to learn how to be a spotter. So she's going to stay with Mom with the Blackhawks next year and try and obtain some of those goals. But, Pam is my wife Pam is a Girl Scout troop leader. She's also a Cub Scout den leader. And I'm a Cub Scout Cup master.
Wow.
For Colton's Pac 21 Cub Scout troop. So yeah, I mean we're busy. We stay busy.
I was going to ask what you do in your spare time, but I don't think you have any spare time.
So actually, I saw that and I kind of laughed. I'm like, oh, that's a lot I do in my spare time. But my me time, what centers me, what grounds me back to earth, and I try to do it before I go out to any tournament or any World Series, is fishing. That's how I disappear. That's how I get my zen. It's quiet. There's and I can do it with the kids. I can do it with friends, and there's no competition. It's just relaxing.
That's a good way to connect with your kids too. There's a lot to be said for those activities you do with your kids where you're not like facing each other and you're looking and focusing on another task, and you can have some good conversations that way.
Yeah. And I'm not one of those bobber fishermen. I'm a sport fisher. I like the different jigs and lures.
Okay. Yeah.
So
funny.
when I
Ours
go
don't.
fishing, it's still working. You know,
Yeah.
if I put a bobber in the water and sit back in a chair, I'm going to end up taking a nap and losing a rod.
That's funny. One of our sons is a raft guide in Colorado, and he has all that. He does all that. He makes his own little lures and stuff like that. So I'm sure he would probably love to know about what you're into there. Well,
Yeah,
Brandon,
I'm making it interesting. You know, as a blind fisherman, I'm teaching people tricks that you know what a needle threader is.
yeah.
All right, so I told some of my friends, I'm like, look, you need to buy you a box of needle threaders. And I'm like, what am I going to do with the needle threader? I said, you're going to utilize the needle threader. You're going to put your fishing line through the eyelet of the needle threader, and you're going to use it to go through your hook or your swivel or your lure, whatever. And then that way it helps you thread the line through it and tie it off. And they're like, that is so smart.
That is smart.
Okay, so you need to keep us. I know in this earlier this month you had told us about a chance to go down for us to try to play, and we were obviously out of the country. So keep us posted when something's happened in the Texas area, and we'll definitely try to make it. And
That'd
we
be
want to
so fun.
experience this.
Yes, that would be fun.
Okay, yeah, most definitely. I know that I'm part of a group that's trying to organize a few Texas tournaments. We're gonna call it the Texas Two Step. It's a 2-weekend event. And it'll be all 6 Texas teams battling for the Texas Two Step trophy.
Oh, that sounds fun.
And then I know the Oklahoma team is trying to put on a tournament right there in Norman again.
Yeah.
In April, so that they'll still be pretty close to you guys too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Man, I totally want to see this played, and I totally want to try to play this.
Absolutely. How do we prepare for that?
I don't think you prepare. You just go and do
You
it.
just got to go do it, don't
Yeah.
you? Okay, well, I think we should do it.
And I think it's going to be really hard to start out with because it's going to take away. We are so used to having our vision
Yes.
that it's going to totally take away what we rely on.
That's right. It's going to be incredibly difficult.
And I kind of love that challenge.
Yeah, I think we should do it.
Yeah.
All right. So make sure you check out where you can go watch this, where you can go try to play this, because the Hardys will be there.
Yes. I'm going to put for the episode show notes, I'm going to put all the links for the Beat Ball website and
Facebook
maybe
page.
some of the local teams and the Facebook page.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in going, or if you're even interested in playing, you can check it out.
That's right. Hardy Party 5.5, over and out.
We'll see you next time.